tremendous looking trophy.
Hello, welcome to Platinum Explosion, #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Don Blight. Joining me, as always, Usher Hobley.
Don, excited to be here on a very big news week for PlayStation. Let's jump in straight into it. What's in the trophy cabinet?
Three things. I can't even bother doing the trophy cabinet because that's I only have three stories this week, everyone. Wait, what? Three? No, four. Four. Sorry, I got 4 stories. Not a very big week, to be honest. If I'm saying this and then later there's like a state of play inserted into the show, it's because we're recording this before the state of play happened, and then I've added in later. So, but I won't cut this out for the memes, for the lols, as the kids say. But yeah, not much happened. The biggest thing, which we'll jump into in a second, which is there was a bunch of like sort of indie announcements for PlayStation. Otherwise, not much in the world of PlayStation, but that's fine. We had a big week last week. I was looking back on the last week's episode was like decent length, and when I opened the show notes to delete all the old notes, I was like, "Fuck!" There's like 10 news stories there. Oh fuck! But there you go. So let's jump straight into it. Eurogamer says, "Here's everything revealed as part of Sony PlayStation's Indie Spotlight event." They're right. Sony's been having a bit of an indie shindig over at the PlayStation blog, ushering in 7 announcements and reveals that might just leave PS4 and PS5 owners slightly acquitted. What? Who? No, I'm not going to say it. Adam Robinson used much loved open world exploration game A Short Hike, in which Small Bird goes on a brief but thoughtfully delightful mountain climbing adventures coming to PlayStation consoles sometimes autumn, and that's the first thing. So guess what? I think I own this game in 2 places and I've never played it, so I guess I'll just wait to play it. I think I'll wait to play it on PlayStation now. So that's good. I mean, it was one of those games that came out and everyone was like, "This is really good. This is really good." I was like, "Yeah, I should totally play it." And like bought it on Steam. It was like, like $15, whatever. I never played it, and it was like came out on Switch or whatever. I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, all about it." It's only like 3 hours apparently. Let's get into it. Didn't happen. But yeah, it's a game that has really cute art style. It's like it's pixely, art style or whatever. And you play as Bird. I don't really know what you do. You're on an adventure. You're trying to, you're hiking or whatever up a mountain. It's a short hike. I mean, I
assume it's just a short hike.
It's a short hike. That's the thing. So yeah, I'm keen for this. Have you seen this before? And you keen for this or?
No, I've not. But yeah, it's an interesting art style. I mean, if it's 3 hours, with a platinum, maybe.
With a platinum. I mean,
yeah.
I presume it does. It has Steam. It has Steam achievements.
Playing some volleyball.
So. I know the character art was around a lot that year. People kept it was one of those. I think the design of the bird's head. I saw a lot of like fan art for a while there on Twitter. I know. I feel like sometimes my Twitter is very different to your Twitter because I'm like I saw a lot of Short Hike from people I follow or people talking about Short Hike, but you're like I've never seen this game. So I'm like, who am I following? All these fucking people talking about weird indie games, I guess. Yeah, I'm keen. Good. No, it's a good one to come to PlayStation. Play it there with the games are the best, you know what I'm saying? Then we got Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, the sequel to developer Night School Studios' deliciously eerie 2016 narrative adventure is confirmed to be coming to PlayStation consoles. It's set to feature entirely new cast of characters. Players control Riley Poverly as she investigates strange electromagnetic signals in her hometown of Kamina while retaining what? While retaining, as Night School puts it, the weird, heartfelt, and personalized experience of the original. So yeah, this is just a confirmation that Oxenfree 2 will indeed be launching alongside PS5, PS4, as long as everything else they'd already announced, of course. But which is good because I mean, I was going to play it on PC, I guess, because that's where I thought it was going. But now, if it's going to come out the same day on PlayStation, that's where I'd lean towards playing it. You never played the first Oxenfree, did you? No. Too spooky? No, or you think it's too spooky? You would assume it's too... Okay, good. Do you want to play Oxenfree 2?
Maybe.
Because I was waiting for you to be like, nah, it looks too scary. I'm like, it's just a fucking just because it has supernatural elements does not suddenly mean that it's a horror game, Ash.
Yeah.
It's not. It has some soupies. There's some supernatural things. This is fine. Yeah, keen. Very good. Then we got Axiom Verge 2. The sequel to developer Thomas Happ's acclaimed retro-style Metroidvania-like is coming to PlayStation 4 and PS5, which we already knew. What we didn't know, however, is that the game won't just feature one explorable world, it'll feature two. As Harp explains it, there's the overworld and a second interconnected breach world in an alternate dimension laid beneath it. Players will be able to move between both layers throughout their adventure, significantly expanding Axiom Verge's two non-linear exploration opportunities. I never played the first Axiom Verge. Did you ever double? It was on PlayStation Plus. It was fucking cheap. I don't know. I feel like I think so. I think I've got it. I feel like I own it, but
I probably owned it as well. Never got around to playing it.
Yeah, of course,
it's like a Metroidvania, and who wants to play a game where you backtrack all the time, right?
It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's one of those like sort of well-loved Metroidvania type ones. One of the biggest ones, I guess, other than of the last few years. Outside of, I don't know, maybe it probably is the biggest one of the last few years. But Shovel Knight came out before this, I guess. So yeah, this is after Shovel Knight and whatever else. And some of these other ones that people count as Metroidvanias, I'm like, it's not really a Metroidvania. So I don't know. Like, I don't count Dead Cells as a roguelike, so it's not Metroidvania. So. Yeah, I probably won't play this. I just don't feel like I'd have the time or like ability to push this over some other things I'd rather be playing. But I would if I had time. Okay. Here's a good one. This one I'm excited about, or excited to hopefully have time to play it again, or at least for people who haven't played it to experience it, because it was a game I very much liked that came out last year. Eurogamer continues. Here's another good old, unfinally making its way to PlayStation later this year. Phobia Game Studios' acclaimed reverse horror experience, Carrion. Here, players are cast as an amphimorphous creature of unknown origin and set loose throughout the shadowy, claustrophobic corridors of a labyrinthine industrial complex. Unsurprisingly, much gruesome carnage ensues. Carrion has its flaws. Blah, 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 blah. No, according to you, it does, motherfucker. Yeah, this is a game where, like, so they call it a reverse horror game because you're playing as, it's kind of a Metroidvania to a degree, like, not to the level of Axiom Verge, because mostly you're moving forward, but there's a degree of, like, oh, I need to get into this room or whatever. You go sort of get an ability or a key or something to kind of continue on. There's like 6 areas, I think, in the main game or whatever. But yeah, it's a reverse horror game because you play as the creature that breaks out of a facility, compared to where you'd usually play as like the army soldier or, the scientist who decides to pick up arms and battle against the evil that's escaped. You are playing as a monster in this game. And the way it controls is quite fun. You fling yourself across walls and this sort of stuff as this little blob, and you can the soundtrack's really good and the sound design's really fun and whatever else. Like, it's not actually a scary game. It obviously has a horror vibe, but you're playing as the monster, so it's not really scary. It's supposed to be scary for the other people, but that's the fun part. Like, you can like reach down and like pull up. You can reach down and grab like a scientist or whatever and fucking like rip them apart or whatever, and everyone else in the room will start losing their shit and freaking out, and you can just like sort of watch them from a air duct or something in the wall, and they'll all be losing their shit and whatever else, and you can sit there for a minute and then like, oh, they're like sort of calm now, and then you burst out and fucking kill them all. Love it. Good shit. Good time.
Yeah. So you gave it a 9 out of 10 last year, so.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. I think maybe I had too much fun with it, just terrorizing the scientists and stuff. I think it tickled a certain part of my brain, being able to just tear these people apart, because you can like later in the game as Carrion, like it gets bigger, the mass, as you like feed and stuff like that. So you start as like a small alien creature, and as you progress through the game, you're like eating more or whatever, you turn into this giant monster, and you get like different abilities as well that help you solve puzzles, but also like for combat and whatever else. And yeah, there's times where, especially if some enemies have guns like soldiers, and you have to be careful for those because they can kill you or whatever. But sometimes you're walking into a room, there's like 10, 15 scientists in there who just have nothing to do, and you just like fucking fly across this room and just be like, blah, 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 fucking pull limbs off them and throw them around. There's blood goes everywhere. Good shit. Totally sounding like a serial killer right now, but good shit. Really enjoyed it. And also, ExplosionNetwork.com, there is guide for all the collectibles. So if you want to get the platinum, because I presume it's probably just going to be the same achievements, because I got all the achievements on PC, I think it's the one game I've got 100% of the achievements in. You got to find all the collectibles. So you could just take my guide and use it for the PS5 version. There you go, everyone. And it should be an easy platinum. I believe it should have a platinum. I would be highly surprised if it doesn't. And if it does, it should be an easy one. And it'll take you, I think it took me like 6 hours to beat but while getting all the collectibles. It'll probably take you less if you're just following a guide. I guess that's with me looking for them, like not having a guide. So it's not a super long game, but it's fun. I enjoyed it. Is this up your alley, or you're like, nah, fucking still, even though it's not a horror game, it feels like a horror game, so fuck this shit?
No, this was something that I definitely wanted to get around to playing, so it's cool that it's coming to PlayStation. Or to be stuck on Xbox forever, but,
Yeah. Devolver, always put in PlayStation last, Devolver. Fucking.
So 12 months, I guess I can wait 12 months before I can play Death's Door. And
we're still waiting for Katana Zero, and that was before Carrion.
That's true.
Katana Zero still hasn't come out on PlayStation. So, rip. Soul Cresta was the next game. Platinum Games sequel to classic vertical scrolling arcade shooters Moon Cresta and Terra Cresta. Also got another airing as part of Sony's Indie Showcase, with chief game designer Hideki Kamiya taking some time to explain the origins of the project in a new blog post. Soul Cresta director Tananoki Sato has also detailed two of the game's core systems, known as dock and split and formations, over on Platinum's website. Yeah, so it's a throwback. It's not a proper bullet hell game, I guess, but it's the moving forward shooty bang bang bullet hell-ish stuff. I can get into these games sometimes. There was one that actually came out on PS3, and I was like, I got into it to the point I ended up getting the platinum in it. And I had fun in that. I think it totally depends on a weird mix of my brain, like if it's sort of what I want to be playing at the time. And I also feel like music and sound effects are a big part of it, because it's like so repetitive at times. And if these games have like a good soundtrack, you can be like, oh yeah, I can spend some time on this thing. Then we got Witchwood from Capsize Studio. Alien Trap Games will making its way to PlayStation consoles this autumn. Witchwood, described as bewitching crafting adventure, puts players in the role of an old witch caught up in a dark past she can't remember making. The ensuing adventure takes her all across a mysterious land inspired by classic fables, with exploration and hunting for spell ingredients to be the core experience. We've seen this pop up at a few things at this point. I haven't done too much research into it myself. It does have like that sort of what the fuck is that game called? The wood hunting. Oh fuck! Don't Starve. It has like that Don't Starve vibe, I guess, to the art design and general what you're doing in the game, I guess, to a degree, because it is like a survival-ish thing or survivor crafting thing, but it seems to have more story than that game. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm not like super like I can't wait to play it. But yeah, how did you feel about this one?
Yeah, cool art style. Looks definitely get like you said, Don't Starve kind of vibes. Yeah, looks interesting. Definitely, it could be like a weird dark comedy. Looks like potentially, so looks good.
And then last but not least, Hades. Developer Supergiant Games critically acclaimed dungeon crawling roguelike, which was previously announced comes to PlayStation 4 and PS5 this Friday, August 13th. Supergiant didn't have much in the way of revelations to share, but it did discuss the origin of some of Hades' celebrated systems in a new blog post. And when I say celebrated, I mean it, because Eurogamer loved it. And guess what? ExplosionNetwork.com, we also loved it. We talked about it again.
I think everybody loved it. So
yeah, I mean, everyone loved it, yes. So one game of the year.
I think you'll find every single award
in the world, yeah. So yeah, now, I mean, are you picking this up on Friday? What are you doing? Are you or not?
Yeah, I don't think I'll have time to watch it, play it, but it'll be downloaded.
Yeah,
purchased.
You purchase it.
Maybe I can stick around.
Are you going to grab that? You're going to try and grab a physical, or what are you doing? You're just going to go digital?
I think I'll just get digital, I think. You know, too risky to go in the stores at the moment.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, if I go to a store and I see the cool physical version there, I might pick one up. But I want to have a copy digitally, so I don't have to like put the disc in. And I can just jump in whenever I want.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, if it had like a really cool collector's edition, I would have been like all over it. But it's just it's
just an art book.
It's just and it's one of those like small like
no, it's not like a cool art book. I'm sure they'll put like surely Supergiant at some point would do like an Art of Supergiant book.
They'd have to.
At this point,
I assume so.
Like 4 or 5 games in, all of them beautiful.
I'd buy it.
Yeah, Supergiant.
Put out an art book.
Put out a book.
Put an art book on your website and buy it. I don't know if I'm going to play it Friday. I don't know if I'll have time Friday, or if I did have time, if that's the best use of my time. But I'm getting it, and I want to play it again, and I'm definitely going to attempt to platinum it and see how I go. Like if I can make that a journey.
But it's like it's a no rush one.
Yeah, maybe it's not a thing I should be trying to like devote 80 hours to 100 hours in the next week or so, and then just have literally done.
But potentially
played or
it could
watched
be easier
nothing
now.
else. Yeah, you reckon
it could be easy to do now?
What, just
because you've had enough practice?
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, having not played, I was like thinking the other day. I'm like, because I was looking at the calendar and I saw it was coming up last week, and I was like, oh, that's right, Hades comes out next week. I completely forgot. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, I haven't played it for a while. Will I be suddenly bad? But then I was thinking, there is like a vibe you get in for that game, but it's also not like mechanically it's that deep that I don't feel like I could just pick it up and play it. You know what I mean? Like it is just like shooting, slashing, dodging. Like I know there's like, I feel like the hard part is getting an understanding of just knowing what creatures do what, or what their attack patterns are, and like what boons you want to take.
Go together.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, and all that is just, that would come back pretty quickly. The core gameplay mechanic and stuff, I don't feel like that's like super, like, you know, like I feel like if I drop a Souls game, I can't come back for like months. But
I mean, we've seen people get through on the first round, so I mean, it's possible.
That's true. That's true. And I'll definitely be trying when I boot up for the first time to do that. And I definitely won't know it. But I will be trying.
I'll definitely die
but I'll try.
Probably get those bloody chariots. That's what it'll be.
I got to
those tiny chariots.
I didn't make it to the snake that's when I rebooted up on Switch, I guess, or whatever it was. I got at least to the second world, and then I died at like I think the very first area of the lava. Yeah, I think, and I was like,
lava's pretty rough.
I was like, I'll take that actually. I'll take that as success
because you've got no health. And
yeah.
Oh no, you had full health, so this time you won't.
Yeah, I got really lucky though. I got some good early, like just stuff for that first round, which is a big part of it, obviously.
Yep,
it's the only way you can really make that work, I think. Right, so that's all the indie games. That was a good PlayStation. I don't mind when I wake up and they're like, oh, we're doing this thing today, we're just going to announce a bunch of stuff, and I'm also like, how much more effort is it to make this into like a state of play or something? Because some of these things like Carrion and like Short Hike and some of these sorts of games, they're big enough announcements to some people. Like, I'm not saying they're big enough for hundreds of thousands, but how much does it take to do a mini state of play? Is it worth it? I don't know. Probably not. They're not being paid by the developers, I guess, but you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like the PlayStation blog, I'm like, I want a little bit more love over here than a blog post. I don't know. All right, PlayStation. Press start. That's what I meant. Press start writes, Ghost of Tsushima Legends is getting a standalone release and a bunch of new content. Sucker Punch has announced that Ghost of Tsushima Legends, the multiplayer component of Ghost of Tsushima, will get a standalone release. The standalone version of the game will launch on September 3rd and will set you back $27 Australian roughly, because we don't have the official thing, but that's from 20 US. The team has also announced the game is getting a new mode called Rivals on September 3rd that will bring new trophies as cosmetics. In Rivals, teams of 2 will compete to defeat waves of enemies. Defeating foes will earn you Magatama, which you can use to harm the other team, with the goal being to complete the wave before the other team can. So this is Tetris 99, but in Ghost of Tsushima.
Or like any puzzle game.
Yeah.
Any competitive puzzle
any
game.
competitive puzzle game. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's
Puzzle Fighter or
but it's with
Mario.
Ghost of Tsushima. So that's all I could think about when I saw that. I was like, that's literally it's a puzzle game thing. It's funny. Alongside the director's cut version of the game, an update is also being released for Legends that includes rebalancing of survival mode to shorten the session length, a new weekly survival nightmare challenge variant, and additional cosmetics. Sucker Punch has also said that it is committed to releasing a new piece of content content from September 10th until October 1st, including a new Rivals map, new survival maps based on Iki Island, and a new trial. And of course, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut comes out August 20th, so this will be a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it is after that. That's when you're getting your some Legends content and a standalone release and stuff. Are you keen to jump back in? Because I'm keen to give this Rivals mode a go, I reckon. Sounds like it could be fun.
I mean, if you're going to give this Rivals mode again, then I can jump back in.
I mean, I want direct. I
assume it will launch with Director's Cut.
Yeah, it'll be part of that. I think it's just going to let you. I guess it's handy to be able to have it only this installed if you want to play it, and maybe not the entire thing. I guess since it's now its own game, maybe you can just choose to install it. I don't know, or you can just buy it separately if that's all you want to play. I don't know. But yeah,
that'd be weird if you couldn't download it if you have the full game digitally.
I don't know. I was just thinking maybe if they're going to count it as a separate thing, like you got to install Call of Duty, you can choose to install like multiplayer, zombies, single player. Like
maybe on PS5 you'll be able to, but PS4 owners might
maybe
be able
not PS4. Yeah, but that'd be handy. That'd be good if you could do that. But yeah, I'll have it installed anyway because we're going. We're going to be playing Iki Island, of course. So it's like we're going to have that shit installed. So
definitely,
dive back in.
Yeah, I don't know how many people will buy it standalone. That seems like an odd.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the audience.
I guess. Yeah, maybe if you do want to own it digitally and you only want to play that section, but then why not?
I guess
wait for a sale. Or
I just don't feel like there's an audience of people who are like, you know what? I never cared for Ghost of Tsushima single player, but now that I've heard there's a multiplayer component, that's where I want to spend my money. I feel like the people playing Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer are the people who've played the core game. Like I don't feel like there's people play Call of Duty multiplayer but don't play single player. But I don't feel like that's a ghost problem.
No,
thing.
that doesn't say
No, I don't think that's a thing. Press Start also writes, Sony aims to ship at least 12 million more PS5s before March 2022. Sony has said in its latest physical report that it has secured enough semiconductors to produce its its intended amount of PS5 consoles, which equals up to about another 12 million PS5 consoles in its current fiscal year, which ends March 31st. As transcribed by VGC, CFO Hiroki Tokoki said, quote, for PS5, the target has been set for the number of units to be sold this year, and we have secured the number of chips that is necessary to achieve this. Regarding the supply of semiconductors, we are not concerned. Why am I fucking... I know I find that so funny. Regarding the supply of semiconductors, we are not concerned. Maybe it's the way I'm saying it. Maybe it did sound that cool when he said it. I hope it did. I'm having too much fun with this. What am I talking about? Oh, right. This is obviously great news, as it's no secret that thousands of Australians were still waiting to get their hands on PS5, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe this. Do you believe this? Do you reckon the semiconductors are not an issue?
I don't know. I just have
What
to
do you know
them.
about semiconductors, Ash?
I know nothing about semiconductors, but I assume they're like half of the conductor.
I'll tell you what, next time someone comes into work, hey, do you have any PS5s? We don't, but I'll tell you what, semiconductors, not an issue anymore.
So, any day now.
Any day. Those semiconductors, problem solved. Nothing you have to worry about anymore, anyone. Right. Problem.
Yeah.
They're in. They're coming in now. Do you need to keep those updates for Big W and Target? Nah, it's fine. The semiconductors are no longer an issue. I don't believe
They're
this.
just going to pump them out now. They've got all those semiconductors.
No, maybe
Conducting the semis.
It's a lot of semiconductors doing the semiconducting.
I mean, they could have just, instead of using a semiconductor,
they could have used a full conductor.
Yeah. Save or split a full conductor in half.
Or maybe it's the thing. Maybe the semiconductors because they cut full. Maybe they were using full conductors and now they've cut them in half, so they have.
They're conducting too much.
They doubled the amount of conductors they had because they were using full pipe and now they've gone half pipe.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like all these semi-orchestras are going to be missing out on all these semiconductors. That's the only problem. This is a bad segment.
PSVR for the players.
Let's talk about some VR. So, Kotaku report new PSVR2 details leaked from Sony Developer Conference. A video posted today by popular VR YouTube channel PSVR Without Parole purports to have new information about Sony's next generation virtual reality hardware for PlayStation 5. PSVR Without Parole claims to have sourced fresh information from a private conference Sony held on Tuesday for prospective PSVR2 developers, the occurrence of which was independently corroborated by Upload VR. According to PSVR Without Parole, Sony's next VR platform is codenamed NGVR for Next Generation VR. It will likely be called the PSVR 2. As Upload
Thank God codenames are never actually used.
Yeah, exactly. As Upload VR reported in May, PSVR 2's display will have a resolution of 2000 by 2040 per eye, which is a solid little bump above the world's current most popular headset, the Oculus Quest 2. In addition, PSVR Without Parole suggests the screen will utilize OLED display technology and support high dynamic range, potentially giving it a lot more vibrancy, deeper blacks, greater brightness, and the Quest than the Quest 2's more typical non-HDR LCD display. The new kit will supposedly feature 110 degree field of view, up 10 degrees from Sony's original PSVR, and around 20 better than the slightly scuba mask feeling of the Oculus Quest 2. This wide FOV will be accomplished in part via Fresnel lenses, which come with pros and cons that Quest users are already well acquainted with. Perhaps the biggest news back in May was that PSVR 2 will feature eye tracking capability, which will make possible a much desired performance improving technique called foveated rendering. Today's video suggests that PSVR 2 will feature another new technology called flexible scaling resolution, which concentrates the rendering resources on the player's area of focus to further reduce on the PS5 hardware. It's not immediately clear how FSR will differ from foveated rendering. Stop on that one for a sec, because I actually do think that's like a legit, like that would actually solve a lot of, like the tech sounds ridiculous. Like, so, I mean, when you think about it, like if you like randomly stare at a spot right now and you think about what you can see in your like peripheral vision, you know, like in front of you, you know, like all that sort of stuff, like obviously your brain sort of, you know, like the stuff beside you is blurred out, you know, it's not really drawn in as much. But when you're playing something in VR, it obviously renders everything around you at full. So I guess to a degree, if it can track where your eyes are and then it can render only what you need to see and give that higher detail and reduce stress on the PS5, that's good. And then similarly, it does sound similar to technology they're already using in games, like when Insomniac talked about how they were doing the loading with the SSD on the PS5 for something like Ratchet & Clank, when they're like, it's only loading what's in front of you, and because the SSD can load so fast, it literally loads stuff beside and behind you as you swing around. But it's only ever showing you sort of what's in front of you, and stuff's just loading that fast, that you don't even notice. So it sounds similar in that they can give you more detail, less stress, and just, I guess, you know, the power of the PS5 and whatnot. So, as for stuff you can touch and feel, PSVR Without a Parole corroborates Uploaded VR's information from May that PSVR 2 will have some sort of haptic feedback by the in the headset and help reduce motion sickness, apparently via a rotary motor. Back in March, a Sony blog revealed PSVR2's new controller design and noted that the new units will have sensors to track your thumb, index, and middle fingers, so you can give a big old fuck you to whoever you want. Today's video describes these as capacitive touch sensors that have a analog quality to them, and that will let them sense the positions of your fingers even when your fingertips hover above them. PSVR2 will be able to use this data to make guesses about pinky and ring finger positions. This is similar to Oculus does, where it just kind of assumes roughly to a degree, I guess, where the rest of your hand is. Finally, some of the most interesting tidbits dropped in the vid concern software. The claim is that Sony is looking to move away from so-called VR experiences, like you're pretending you're Batman for 90 minutes, or swimming with whales for 10, in favor of a greater focus on console quality AAA games. Further, it said that Sony thinks the best way to accomplish that is to create hybrid games that support both conventional displays and virtual reality, sort of like what Capcom did with Resident Evil 7. Apparently, their intent is to let the player download just the version they want to play, standard or VR, saving on download size. According to PSVR Without Parole, the event passed without any explicit mention of PSVR2 being backward compatible with PSVR 1 games, which seems mildly concerning. A lack of backward compatibility with older VR purchases would be a big misstep. Bada, bada, bada. The vid wraps by noting there's no official release date or price for PSVR 2, but that launch details will come in early 2022. What do you take of that last part? Bigger AAA things, but they're also just games that have been made for both.
I mean, the more games available on PSVR, the better. I don't know if you need straight out of the block games that are purely for PSVR 2 rather than, any games at all, and the games need to run better on PSVR 2. Like, every game that is available on PSVR is going to be much more enjoyable to play on PSVR 2, you would assume. Assuming they're updated to use all the hardware. Or at least the controllers, which will be the massive difference. So,
I mean, if PSVR 2 is able to play all the games that like Oculus and all these other PC devs are putting out, I guess you don't really have to worry about content, because then you'll just be getting the stuff everyone else is getting. But I would also feel like if the focus is on dual quality games, I'm like, what's Sony selling? Like, what's the exclusive reason to get this over an Oculus? Because I feel like that has to be the game, or at least games, a couple. This is why you need a PSVR over an Oculus, or at least a PSVR and an Oculus, or what have you. But if they're just like, look, you can play the other stuff, the people are going to be like, well, I already have an Oculus Quest 2 or a Steam VR or whatever, so I don't really know why I need a PSVR. What are you offering me? And by the sounds of that, there's not currently an offer there. That's why we need that Astrobot Rescue Mission 2, etc., etc., etc. That's the sort of stuff that they need to be pushing. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I feel about that one, to be honest. But and another good thing is, I guess, like this leak report corroborates a lot of stuff, the rumors we'd heard back from early in the year, pretty much note for note, like, yes, that's the thing, yes, that's the thing, yes, that's the thing. So it seems like basically everything we're hearing about PSVR 2 is true. I mean, that's what it is. Sounds good. And by the sounds of it sounds good. I still think it sounds good. So early 2022 for information. I'm still going to say that means late 2022 release. Surely. If they're talking to devs now, like a bunch of devs. Yeah, I still think that means it. I'm still going to say it late 2022. That's what I'm going with.
Surely, yeah. At the earliest.
All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Let us know any comments, questions, or concerns you've had about this week's episode. Tweet at us or join Discord. ExplosionNetwork.com/Twitter takes you to our Twitters. ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord takes you to our Discord channel. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1, you can head on over to ExplosionNetwork.com/support to drop $1 or set up a recurring payment of $1 and or more. That would be greatly appreciated. And until next week, remember, every trophy counts.